The Italian Wine Podcast is the community-driven platform for Italian wine geeks around the world. Support the show by donating at ItalianWinepodcast.com. Donate €5 or more and we'll send you a copy of our latest book, My Italian Grape Geek Journal, absolutely free. To get your free copy of My Italian Grape Geek Journal, click Support Us at ItalianWinepodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. Grazie mille.
Welcome to Masterclass U.S. Market with me, Juliana Colangelo. This show has been designed to demystify the U.S. market for Italian wineries through interviews with experts in sales and distribution, social media, communications, and so much more. We will quiz each of our esteemed guests at the end of each episode to solidify the lessons that we've learned. So sharpen your pencils, get out your notebooks, and join us each week to learn more about the U.S. market.
Hello, welcome to Masterclass U.S. Wine Market. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Stefano Lorenzi to the Italian Wine Podcast. Stefano represents Castello di Grumello in Val Calepio. Stefano is an arborist and the winery's agronomist. He's also deeply involved in sustainability efforts and agroforestry. Welcome to the show, Stefano. It's so great to have you here.
Hey, it's great for me and everybody.
Okay, fantastic. So before we dive into today's discussion around Bordeaux varietals and their cultivation in Italy for the U.S. market, Stefano, tell us a little bit more about you and Castello di Grumello.
Yes, I'm the project director of the Castello di Grumello winery, and the winery is actually inside a middle-aged castle. So we have to manage not only the vineyard, not only the cellar, but also the castle, because we have a lot of people come and visit our historical castle. Is a historical Italian house, so we have to manage a lot of things about the castle. And yes, I'm the person who manage also the part of the agronomist part of the vineyard. So I'm involved also in the field where we growing our Bordelaise variety.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So Stefano, today we're talking about the cultivation of those Bordeaux varietals, the history in the region, and the potential for the U.S. market. So our three key takeaways for today's masterclass and what we're excited to speak with you are, number one, what is the history of Bordeaux varietals in northern Italy, Lombardy, and Val Calepio specifically? Number two, based on your experience at Castello di Grumello, what is the potential for these wines for the U.S. market? And finally, what are some of the other potential opportunities for Bordeaux varietals in Italy and the export market? So to start, tell us a little bit more about the history of planting Bordeaux varietals in northern Italy and in Val Calepio specifically.
The history is very long because exactly in our castle at the end of the 18th centuries, the Gonzaga family from Mantua started to import from France the little trees, the little plants of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, and start to cultivate in the Val Calepio area. You have to think that also they opened at the beginning of the 19th centuries also a school for teach to the people in the field how to growing in a perfect way the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Merlot. You have to think that we are up in the hill. We are mostly our vineyard are on the 500 meters up the sea level, so we are in the hill. So our Bordelaise wine are more have a style more fresh, more not so strong, not so heavy, maybe like some Tuscany style, because we have the climate change is arrived also to us, but not in a strong way, because we have a lot of fresh period during the autumn and the spring, so we can grow in the Cabernet Sauvignon in a perfect way.
Right.
And in my opinion, one of the best part of our wine is the very easy drink attitude, and that could be a very good advantages for a lot of market.
Absolutely. So do you think, Stefano, that northern Italy and Lombardy and even specifically Val Calepio is one of the best areas and regions in Italy for producing Bordeaux varietals? Talk to us a little bit about how you compare the production in your region to the rest of the country? Because obviously they're making Cabernet, Merlot down in Tuscany, other regions as well.
Yeah, I don't want to be misunderstanding, but in the future, the climate change in Italy is very a real things, and some variety like Merlot suffer a lot this climate change, especially in vintage like 2022 or the middle of 2023. The Merlot variety, for example, have a lot of problem for maturation and the too much dry season and hot temperature. So in our region, our area, the Val Calepio area, we have a lot of hill. We have the Alps on the backs. We have the Lake of Iseo near. So we
Right.
are a very microclimate, very fresh. So in my opinion, in the future, some area of Italy with Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot could be some problem of, for example, the level of the alcohol percentual in the wine, and for example, sometimes to maintain the right acidity of the Cabernet Sauvignon. In our region, in our area, for now, it's not a problem.
Because of the climate, because of the altitude, because of the proximity to the lakes. Is there anything you're doing specifically in the vineyards beyond obviously the natural climate you have to maintain the freshness and acidity in the wines that you're producing?
Yes, I'm a strong believer of the agroforestation. We have 35 hectares, but only 15 are vineyard. The other part of the fields are forest or part of with trees. We have a lot of trees also near the vineyard. We have bushes inside the vineyard. We try to maintain, of course, a high level of biodiversity. My focus have a lot of areas with shade, a lot of area where during the night from the forest comes out the fresh air and mix with the hot air in the vineyard, because during the summer you can understand that the temperature are very high, but during the night there is a change of the air between shade and sun field. So there is a little bit of ventilation, and also the shade air from the wood, from the forest, help to raise down a little bit the high temperature of the ground or of the air under the sun.
Got it. Interesting. It sounds like, again, I mean, the climate, but also what you're doing in the vineyards is really creating this optimal environment for these varietals. And, as we know, Cabernet, Merlot, especially Cabernet in the U.S. market is one of the most popular varietals. So there's really, I think, an opportunity, right, for Italian wines to capture that market share. So talk to us a little bit about how do you think a Cabernet produced in Italy compares to a Cabernet produced, let's say, in Napa Valley, where a lot of Americans expect to find Cabernet?
Maybe also because the Italian Cabernet produced here is also cultivated in another kind of ground, because in our part there is a lot of stones, a lot of in our crew, the name is Colle Calvario, is a very rock hill with a lot of chalk, a lot of acidity part of the ground. So our Cabernet Sauvignon is very focused on the acidity part. And also maybe we use different kind of barrels, different kind of wood, instead maybe the Cabernet Sauvignon of the other part of the world. So we can have a very balancing between acidity and aromatic part.
Okay, interesting.
Italian Wine Podcast, part of the Mama Jumbo Shrimp family.
Talk to us a little bit more about what you're doing in the cellar, more specifically with the aging process with the Cabernet.
For example, as you know, the Bordelais style, we have to make two wines, because the Merlot become ready in our region 25 days before the Cabernet Sauvignon. The average is 20-25 days. So before we make a Merlot wine, after we make a Cabernet Sauvignon wine, maybe they make his own life for some months, and after we put together in concrete barrel. They stay for 9 months together, maybe in concrete container, and after they go in a very big barrel. We use French oak barrel of 54 hectoliters, are 5,400 liters, and stay there for 1 year and a half or 2 years. And just for the last part of their life, they stay 6 months or 9 months in barricks. And we use just barricks of second and third use,
Okay.
not new barricks.
So not new oak. Okay, which also I'd imagine helps keep that more fresh style.
Yes, correct.
Stefano, what do you think is the potential for selling Italian Cabernet Merlot in the U.S. market?
You mean our Cabernet and our Merlot?
Yep, your Castello di Grumello specifically, but also just in general.
The opportunity in the future could be great because I think that the people in the future want to know a particular story. They want to maybe understand the wines from little areas, maybe not yet so famous. So it could be also interesting, the storytelling, but of course is interesting the body of our wine that is very balancing. It has muscle, but is not so heavy, is not so large. So could be a new kind of taste of the people of the future. I think that in the future, the people want more wine, more similar, for example, to the Pinot Noir, or more similar to fresh wine, not so big body, not so deep color, not so very high in alcohol. You have to know that also our maximum reserve has 14 percentual alcohol. In Italy now it's difficult to find a red wine under the 15 or 15.5. So also this kind of characteristic, let me say, a little bit low alcohol attitude could be a plus for the US market.
Absolutely. I see what you're saying. So, a much fresher style of Cabernet that's fitting what the consumer is looking for in terms of having a wine that's lighter in body, fresher in style. So, your winery specifically has this opportunity. And then what about price point? Obviously, wines coming out of Napa, a bottle of Cabernet is not cheap. You might be spending anywhere from $35 on the lower end to hundreds of dollars on the higher end. What price point do you think your wines could fit for the U.S. market for Cabernet?
Our wines in Italy are in the middle low part of the price. And I think that in the US market, especially our reserve and we have two premium wine, the Burduni and the Colle Calvario, our cru, could be placed in the middle level of the price in the US. I don't know perfect all the level of the price of the Cabernet Sauvignon in the US, but I think that they can stay in the middle high part.
Okay. Can you give us a price value, like even if it's in euro, just about average cost of your wines, the Cabernet specifically?
You mean in the US or in Europe?
In the US, if possible.
I think that they can stay around $40-$45.
Okay. So that's competitive in some ways, but it's certainly not gonna undercut the Napa market. So you're looking more at a premium market. So it's finding the opportunities in the U.S., whether it's in the East Coast, perhaps, or other parts of the country that would have interest in this wine. I could definitely see opportunity as well if your winery or the region was able to come out with maybe a bottle price, between $20 and $30, right? That's still high quality, but it's fitting more of an entry level, or it's fitting a younger consumer in terms of that price point. Stefano, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to wrap up, and as we always, we'll do our rapid fire quiz where we ask our guests 3 questions. So number one, what would be your number one tip for mastering the U.S. wine market?
It's a difficult question because the US market, in my opinion, is now a difficult market, but is getting better, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the major tip I can say is invest not only in the storytelling, but invest also in the experience. I mean, to bring the wine to the people and try to let him taste. Invest to let them taste real the wine, because sometimes the people, when you say Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, they say, oh, is always the same Cabernet, is always the same Merlot. A winery like us that produce a very particular Cabernet Sauvignon. Also, we want to go out next year with a Cabernet Franc, only Cabernet Franc, so 100% Cabernet Franc. We need to have the possibility to let them taste the wine, because it's a very unique story, so they have to taste.
Right, absolutely.
So invest in tasting.
Invest in tasting and experience. Yeah, absolutely. That's a basic for sure. What is something you might have told your younger self about working in the wine industry?
Another difficult questions. And in my opinion, now if some people want to start with this job, has to be very unique. We have to find everything of unique we have in our region, in our area, in our cellar, and try to point of this on this focus, because the wine in the world is a lot, and we have to be unique. So my tip could be unique.
Absolutely. Have a unique perspective, something you need to talk about and communicate for sure. And then finally, we travel a lot in this industry. What is one of your favorite travel tips?
It's not the smartest trick or travel hack. My travel hack is take the right time. I usually don't push my time and my appointment, because in the past I saw that when I try to put too many things in one travel, the things are not going very good. So I try to take the right time for every right situation. So I give more attention to the person I meet.
Absolutely. So take enough time. Don't overschedule yourself. I think that's great advice. Well, Stefano, thank you again for joining us today on the Italian Wine Podcast. How can our listeners connect and follow along with all the great work you're doing at Castello di Grumello?
Yes, we have the website is castellodigrumello.it, or we are on Instagram, or I have the LinkedIn profile, Stefano Lorenzi on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Stefano.
Thank you for interviewing me and for your time. It was great.
Thank you for joining me today. Stay tuned each week for new episodes of Masterclass US Wine Market with me, Juliana Colangelo. And remember, if you enjoyed today's show, hit the like and follow buttons wherever you get your podcasts.